Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. We're taking notes on page 74 in our math notebook. And I actually think that page 74 is actually more challenging than page 75. They're both very similar pages in terms of what you need to do. On page 74 here, we are evaluating algebraic expressions, and you need to show your work. On page 75, you're also doing the same thing. I feel like on page 74, the problems are a little bit more difficult. So we'll do a few of these. The rest will be your responsibility to do on your own for independent practice this week. So let's take a look at number one and start off with that. Like I said before, we are evaluating these algebraic expressions. We're going to show our work. It says x minus 8 and x equals 4. Students in the past have gotten confused with this little symbol here. This is a semicolon. All right, a semicolon is used to just separate ideas in a sentence. So if you have two separate ideas that can be combined into one sentence, you can use a semicolon to do that. To separate those two ideas. In math, we're doing the same thing, sort of. We're using a semicolon to separate two pieces of information. In this case, we have the expression, and then we have what x equals, what our variable equals, and that, of course, is x equals 14. Our expression is what we're going to be looking at to evaluate. We have x minus 8. So first things first, what I want to talk about is when we're doing these evaluations, we still need to worry about order of operations. Let me fix that mistake I made there. Go back. So order of operations, we're going to be looking at PEMDAS. Now, in my class, we are always writing PEMDAS on our papers to remember the order of operations: parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. Going in this order, left to right, will help you. Now, just to remind you, parentheses are on their own. You do that first. Whatever's inside parentheses gets completed first, followed by exponents. Multiplication and division are kind of like one package, right? So you do multiplication and division together, left to right. You might see division first, you might see multiplication first. It goes together. Likewise, after you're done with multiplication and division, addition and subtraction follow that. And addition and subtraction go at the same time, left to right. Sometimes you'll see addition first, sometimes you'll see subtraction first. You go left to right. So let's start off with number one. X minus 8 and x equals 14. We're going to take this 14 and we're going to plug it into the x. So instead of x minus 8, we're going to have 14 minus 8. All right. We don't really have to worry about order of operations. In this case, we have only one operation. We have subtraction. So 14 minus 8 is 6. Now looking at number 2. And in regards to showing your work, this is what we mean. I want to see that you're doing the order correctly and that you're plugging in that number, the variable into the value of the variable into the variable, and showing how you're doing that. I want to see that understanding. So keep that in mind when it comes to showing your work. I don't want to just see the answer. I want to see how you got there. So we have 16 divided by n for the next one, number 2. And n equals 8. So I'm going to take that 8 and I'm going to plug it into the n. So instead of 16 divided by n, of course, it's going to be 16 divided by 8. Now, of course, 16 divided by 8 is 2. And that one, again, we only had one operation, right? All right, number 3. Now, this one is a little bit trickier, right? People always get thrown off when there's decimals. So this is 0 and 4/10, and this is 9 and 3/10. Now, I am not anti-calculator. If you want to check your answer using a calculator, I am totally fine with that. But as 6th grade students, you should also know how to divide and multiply with decimals. In this case, we're going to be multiplying with decimals. When you see a number like 0 and 4/10 next to a variable, this is a coefficient. It is multiplying against the variable there. And of course, our variable is 9 and 3/10. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug this 9 3/10. This is what m equals. And we're going to plug it into the m there. So I'm going to rewrite this as 0 4/10 times 9 3/10. I'm going to need a little bit of space to work this out. So I'm going to do this over here. Now you can multiply decimals in any order that you want. It doesn't need to be 4/10 above the 9 3/10. I can do 9 3/10 above the 4/10. It doesn't matter. I'm going to do it like this: 4/10 times 9 3/10. Now, in this case as well, the decimals are lining up, but when you're multiplying with decimals, you don't need to worry about lining them up. You just multiply them the way you see them. And you'll see how we figure out where the decimal place goes in the answer when we're done. So 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. Now that I multiplied what's in the 1's place, I'm going to move multiplying what's in the 10's place. So I drop another 0 for the place value. And I multiply 9 times 4, which is 36. Carry the 3. 9 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. I add up my two products. 2 plus 0 is 2. 1 plus 6 is 7. 3 plus nothing is 3. And then this is where the magic happens with multiplying decimals. How many decimal places did I multiply here? I multiplied 2 decimal places. So in my answer, my decimal is moved over 2 decimal places as well. So 0 4/10 times 9 3/10 evaluates to 3 72/100. Now feel free to use a calculator if you need to on these, okay? But I do want to see your work. I want to see how you got there. But if you want to check your answer on a calculator, for me, that's fine. Also, if I'm going too fast, feel free to stop the video, rewind it, check it, play it again, watch it twice. It's a YouTube video, so you can do all that. Let's take a look at number 5. Number 5 is a little different now because we have 2 variables. We have 3a minus b. A is 4, b is 6. So we're going to substitute 2 different numbers for 2 different variables. 4 is going to be changed out for a, and let's see, we're going to trade out b for 6. I'm going to circle that with green. All right. So let's rewrite this expression. We're going to have 3 times 4 minus, let's use black for the operation, and 6 for b. Now I'm going to put PEMDAS on the side to help us out here because I think we're going to need it. Now, we have 3 times 4 minus 6. Do we have parentheses? No parentheses. Do we have exponents? No exponents. Do we have multiplication or division? We do. We have 3 times 4, so that's going to be our first step. 3 times 4 is 12. Then we have minus 6. Now I don't see any more multiplication or division. We're going to move on to addition and subtraction. Subtraction is our only operation left. 12 minus 6, of course, is 6. So definitely remember to use order of operations. And if it helps you to draw little lines connecting your value of the variable to the variable it needs to be plugged into, that always helped me when I was a kid. So I would highly suggest that. Let's do one more today. One more. Let's do one that's a bit challenging and leave the rest for you to figure out and to work on your own. Because I think half the fun of learning is discovery and figuring things out on your own. So let's take a look at number 7. Number 7 looks rough. It's not that bad, though. We have 5 times 6 and 2/10 plus z, and z equals 3 and 8/10. So, of course, like I've been doing, I'm going to take this 3 and 8/10 and I'm going to plug it into z. Also, I'm going to put PEMDAS on the side just to remind me and make sure I'm doing things in the right order. So I'm going to rewrite this expression. I'm going to write 5 times 6 and 2/10 plus z, which is now 3 and 8/10. So I'm going to rewrite that as 3 and 8/10. Okay. Now, order of operation dictates, let me change this parentheses to black to make it look more uniform. Order of operations dictates that I do what's inside of parentheses first. So, parentheses goes first. I'm going to add 6 and 2/10 plus 3 and 8/10. Now, unlike multiplying, when I add decimals, I have to make sure that I am lining them up. So I'm lining up my decimals here. I've got 6 and 2/10 and 3 and 8/10. Decimals are lined up. In my answer, the decimal is going to line up as well. So I'm going to add these up like I would normally add up any 2-digit or 3-digit numbers, right? So 2 plus 8 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 6 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. And then I drop the decimal right down. Decimal goes right down into the same place value it was. And so we will have instead 5 times 10. Okay, so parentheses is done. We have no exponents. Multiplication and division comes next. We do have multiplication. 5 times 10, of course, is 50. That was our last operation. We don't need to worry about addition or subtraction now. So remember, when you're working on the other problems here, some of them may seem a little challenging, but give them a try. Remember to use order of operations. Check for those decimals. And don't forget to use a calculator to check your answers if you really need to. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.